So how do you first
Yeah.
notice something is happening in your brain and you need to talk to a specialist? Crystal, you can go first.
Okay. Well, I've had different challenges since childhood, but one in particular got much worse. I describe it as mental constipation. I actually use the exact phrase with my psychiatrist. I remember sitting at my desk. You have your cursor on your laptop blinking on a white blank screen. I knew exactly what I had to write, but it felt like there was literal physical barrier between my brain and my hands. So I would end up staring at my screen, exhausted from doing nothing. And that's the part people don't see. Just the amount of energy it takes to try to start something is the most frustrating feeling in the world. Imagine your brain is a sponge. This is how I would usually imagine. There is water in there, you have the ideas, you have the desire to work, but you're squeezing and squeezing and nothing comes out. So you can imagine that trying to force my brain to engage, but it would just stay blank. Because this happens so frequently, it wasn't just a bad day, it led to total burnout and meltdowns. That's why I eventually sought a psychiatrist. My overall health and well-being were impacted by the effort of just trying to be normal.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, I think as a person, it's a bit scary to experience that, and seek help is definitely one of the most important thing to do. What about Shi you? How do you notice something is happening in your brain?
I think I have similar experience as well, but I would like to say actually whatever Crystal mentioned just now really hits me.
Oh,
Especially on especially on the one that taking bath every day. I literally have to think of something to motivate myself to go wash to go to
right.
my toilet. Yeah, to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. So that people don't understand. I feel like people will just say that you just go to take a bath. What is so difficult about that, right? So, but I mean, I need this to force myself to go. I even asked my husband, can you do something to make me, go to the bathroom, right? So that really hit me. And then I also had a similar experience on meltdown, but then my case is I do feel like I am first of all, I would like to talk up that I am actually a late diagnosis as well. So I only get my diagnosis on the age of 34. So it means over the past 33 years, I experienced difficulties, but I did not know what's that. So I always feel like I have a little bit problem here and there. To me, if you ask me, I don't think it is a small problem. But to others, it is not a problem at all. It's like I have been thinking too much. I've been worrying too much. So I have been associated with anxiety all the while. It's like, oh, you are just too anxious. You are kind of the person with a lot of anxiety. They just label me as such. And then also they will label me something like moody. I'm very moody, emotional. I show my emotion clearly and so on. Then I also experience physical symptoms because when our mind works differently with others and the way we view the world, the way we, the way we try to live, you know, in the world is different from others. So we work very hard, like what Crystal said. We work very hard,
Mm.
very exhausted. But on the surface, people don't understand where is the exhaustion. So all this exhaustion, right, actually translate to my physical symptom where I always get digestive issue almost every day. So when I went to the specialist, they will just ask me to, I mean, they just ask me to, okay, you just have a check. You just go for gastroscopy, you just have a check. And I checked twice. I didn't discover any issue. So I try to find answer for all the physical symptoms I have. So I have been reading a lot of articles, the medical articles, the medical journals. I've been trying to find an answer to explain myself. But I feel like, okay, I found this. I think this one is supposed to be what I experienced. But there is something, there's a gap over there. So every time when I find something, I feel there's a gap. Every time I find something, I feel there's a gap. So until a time where I experienced physical symptoms and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. Then I got meltdown. I literally went to the government clinic kesihatan and then I cried in front of the doctor. So that is where the journey started. But actually, initially, doctors don't believe. I think it has been about half a year. I've been looking for different doctors. I've been visiting different doctors, but they didn't believe that I may be, on the spectrum. So they just say that you are having general anxiety disorder and so on. Then I had actually antidepressant for some time until I actually got the diagnosis. So I also started with meltdown, where it is not like something just happened like this. I believe Crystal understand. It's not something just happened like this. It has been since childhood, all the while you have been experiencing something here and there and so on. Then my experience is when I experience something, I have meltdown, I have a little breakdown and so on. Then I got myself rest, and then after that, okay. Then I start to accumulate all the pressure again. Then I got meltdown again. Then I rest. Then okay. So I don't know whether I have problem or does not have problem. So that is the complication over there. And when I got this diagnosis of ASD, right, it actually explained everything, every single thing, almost every single thing about what I experienced. So that was a little bit of my journey, which this journey actually motivate me to advocate more, because I want people with similar experience get their answer sooner than me. Yeah.
Wow, thanks for sharing, Shi. Indeed, it sounds like a very normal things that we shouldn't be looking into this kind of diagnosis. So yeah, to our listeners out there, if you feel like you have a meltdown, burn out, so perhaps it's a good time to seek for a specialist to find out. So what did you feel when you finally got diagnosed, Crystal? Maybe it's a hard time to accept it or no?
Mm. She will share her story later, but I know hers. So unlike she, when I finally got the diagnosis, I was in total denial initially, because there's so much stigma around mental health, especially back then. And the words disorder and deficit in ADHD didn't really help. It made me feel like there was something inherently wrong with me, like I had a permanent glitch that could never be fixed. I felt inadequate and incapable. I remember thinking, okay, so this is it. This is me forever. I felt hopeless. Beyond the denial, there was also a period of mourning this version of myself I thought I should be before I could actually accept who I actually was. And I also wondered, how would my childhood have been different if my family and I know this, if we had known this at 15 or 25. So I had to move past a lot of awful feelings. So she has different labels growing up. My labels were very different from hers. Mine would be careless, or you're just daydreaming or being distracted, stupid, or weak. Because I think a lot of neurodivergent individuals, we struggle with some sort of physical discomfort. So like I had mine too. Therefore, some people might think that I am weak, even until today. So it wasn't a short or easy journey to move past that feeling of being broken, but I eventually did.
Oh, yeah, indeed, it's like a emotion roller coaster, I would say.
Yeah.
It's challenging. What about Shi? You look smiley now.
I think what Crystal said just now, the labels is something very interesting. I can recall my label as well. Since childhood, actually, I have this kind of label like stubborn. My mother always say I'm very stubborn, very stubborn. and then very emotional. And I cannot accept changes. It's like something changed, I really react very fiercely. That is what my mother said. It's like the world is going to collapse. That's how she actually described it. So when I actually got my ASD diagnosis, right, when I told my parents about that, right, when I told my mom asked what is the symptom of ASD and so on, and then I mentioned this, and then she said, yeah, that's just you, right? So that's just you. So since small, I cry easily. It's like very easily, a little bit of things will make me cry. And then my mother will say something like weak, right? Like what Crystal mentioned just now, weak, useless, something like this. It's like a little bit, you cry already. It's very useless, that kind of comments. And then stubborn, emotional, yeah, and then very very fearful. It's like a lot of things I dare not try. Very fearful. So the labels, some of the labels actually carry until I am adult. Even for colleagues to the colleagues, right? I am very emotional. I'm very emotional. I'm very not stubborn. They don't call me as stubborn, but then I sometimes, say something very bluntly, in the sense that when I'm angry, I mention that, hey, you see, this is not reasonable. To them, the way I mention is very inferior. It's like you are attacking me, you are attacking the person, rather than telling the facts or telling the story. But in fact, to me, I am actually looking at that issue and not about the person. So to them, it's like they are being attacked by me. So yeah, that's the thing. After I got my diagnosis, I actually feel very relieved. Honestly, to tell you, very relieved, because before I actually visited the doctors, right? Just now I mentioned I visited quite a number of doctors before I got the diagnosis. Before I visited these doctors, I already read up all the materials about ADHD and ASD. Initially, I thought I have ADHD. I mean, initially my thought is never ASD. Then I've been reading up all the materials, I think for, if I'm not mistaken, for at least half year. If I'm not mistaken, it should be 1 year about that. I already been reading all the articles for 1 year already. So I am quite confirmed that I would be part of this community. But when I was dismissed by doctor, I was very disappointed. And then when I got my diagnosis, finally, I feel like very relieved. It's like, oh yeah, that explains me. But one thing that I would like to highlight is, even for people like me who got relief after getting diagnosis, we still need time to learn to accept our new identity. It's like, even though I feel relief, I'm willing to accept this identity, but my brain needs some time to get used to me recognizing that I cannot perform like others. So I need to stop forcing myself to perform like others, which I need to change my lifestyle compared to the past 33 years. So that actually, I need to spend some time for this, because it is not that easy to actually understand that we are actually different, right? Our processor is different from others. And because of this understanding, you will need to unmask yourself and try to find a way that suits you, and also to be able to, work with the society. So that actually is a lot of effort over there. It slowly come, but my initial feeling was very relief.